If we do this, we'd be going in short-handed.
Yeah, you mean because he killed all our friends?
We owe this to everyone who's not in this room to try.
It's not about how much we lost. It's about how much we have left. We're the Avengers. We gotta finish this. You trust me? I do.
You could not live with your own failure. Where did that bring you? Back to me.
Hi everybody, this is Love, and I'd like to just talk a little bit about the Avengers Endgame and some of the positive messages that I found in that movie. So the main theme that I found in that movie was PTSD, becoming whole after feeling broken or lost, and dealing with loss and trying to move forward from it. In one of the first scenes of Avengers Endgame, you had Captain America talking with the people in the circle, and he was saying that we all have life, and we have a chance to do something with it. Otherwise, Thanos should have just killed everyone. So that right there shows that, you know, when you're alive, when you have life, it's good to not take it for granted, to actually do something with it. Because if you don't do something with your own life, then it's kind of the same as being dead, is what he was trying to say. Life can be an amazing place. You just have to not be afraid to live it and try to move on from it. Of course, that's a lot easier said than done. So, of course, all the main Avengers, the main 6 Avengers, they all fell down their dark paths. Captain America, of course, he tried to give people hope, and he tried to talk about moving on. He went to a group and everything, but deep down he wasn't able to move on, you know. But so Black Widow, she lost family. And her habit was that she was basically a workaholic and drowned herself in work. I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that. When we have unchecked negative emotions within us, then a lot of times we'll drown ourselves in our work. That was one thing Black Widow did. And Thor had a lot of guilt within him. And of course, he became a drunk. And he just sheltered himself from society, and you know, no matter how great he was, his guilt just caused him to go down. And of course, Hawkeye lost his family, and he went overboard and started hurting people and killing people. That I'm sure a lot of people can kind of relate to it, where you feel so hurt and so heartbroken that in your own way you kind of hurt other people just to sort of feel better about, just to kind of fill that void that's within you. And yeah, and Hulk was different. I saw Hulk was actually the only one who started off whole, which was interesting because he was the only one who struggled with himself throughout the Marvel series, but in this movie he was the only one who was actually whole from the beginning. And he became whole by not fighting with himself, not seeing the different sides of himself as, you know, there's something wrong, or one side of himself is a disease, the other one is good. No, what he did was he understood both sides of himself, all sides of himself, and he sat with himself, and he learned how to become the best of all the worlds within him, or both worlds within him. And by doing so, by making peace with himself, he was able to completely have control of himself, and he was able to be at peace with himself. His emotions didn't take over. He was just happy, and he was happy. He was just at peace with himself. So I found that very interesting. So now, let me see, I wrote down some notes, and I wrote a post. So I'm gonna read the post, and it explains a lot of the messages that I found in Endgame. So let's see, I start off by saying, it's hard to move on from loss. All it takes is one moment to send us down harmful, self-destructive paths. No matter what happens to us, we can't undo the damage that's already been done. We can only do the best with what we have now. At certain times in our lives, we lose people we deeply care about. But some of those people we have a chance at making peace with as long as they are alive. Just like what Rocket said. Some people are gone. Some people are kind of gone. So, if you have someone in your life that you feel you can make peace with, and maybe you should make peace with them if you can, or while you can. Anyway, life is too short, and being alive means having a chance to keep moving forward and keep making the world a better place for yourself, for people you care about, just in general, make the world a better place. Our lives are in our own hands, and it's our responsibility to make something of it. Or else we might as well not be living at all. We all have our problems, our fears, doubts. We all feel guilty, and we have our insecurities. And a lot of times we feel like failures. We feel like we've failed. And sometimes facing those issues head on can stop them from damaging us any further, which is good. But sometimes we also have to find the root of where those problems came from in order to fully move on. So it's one thing to stop it from causing any more damage, but it's another trial in itself, another journey in itself, to kind of learn how to fix the damage that's already been done to us. Yeah, so sometimes the best way for us to live a more fulfilling life is to re-explore our past and try to find the source of what caused us so much pain, so much negative emotions, and so much trauma. Of course, that's very hard to do. Like I said, it's a journey. It's a very hard journey to go through. It's a hard journey to even start. But when it comes to inner healing and feeling whole again, re-exploring past traumas is sort of necessary in order for you to not be controlled by it, if that makes sense. So, so Thanos. Thanos was a problem in the present. And, so, let me see, what's an easy way to explain this? Okay, so Thanos was a present in the problem. It was a problem in the present. Everyone tried moving on, but by doing so, they had to revisit their past, like I said. And when they revisited their past and they came back, they brought their past problem with them. And the movie was an analogy. Bringing your past problems with you into the present was them bringing Thanos from the past into the present. Like I said, Thanos represented the problem, the source of the problem, the source of the trauma, the source of the pain. That was the analogy of what Thanos' character represented in the movie. Alright, so, so they brought their past problems back with them into their present. So, they had to face Thanos in the past, because he represented their past problems, and so Thanos from the past was the source that they had to reface and they had to deal with, and they had to struggle to try and overcome it. So dealing with the problem in the present will always be easy. Well, can always be easy, but in the past it's always going to take trial and error and hard work, and you not giving up and you overcoming. So you get the point. Anyway, so your life is a present. Life is a gift. That's why it's called the present. And sometimes you have to look at your present and make peace with the past in order to have a good future, a brighter future for yourself. Yeah. So anyway, one thing that the Hulk taught me was that learning to accept all sides of yourself, not being ashamed by yourself, can really help with becoming whole. Because when we fight and struggle with the inner parts of ourselves, that can be very just exhausting. It can be exhausting to just live life with that kind of mentality. So yeah, the Hulk really taught me to just accept all sides of myself. And yeah, the last parts of my notes here was just a revision. The movie was ultimately about facing past traumas, living with traumas and self-pity and guilt, learning to accept who you are learning to accept who you are instead of who you think you're supposed to be, and realizing that healing broken or lost parts of yourself can come from reliving the past. And yeah, in order to create a more fulfilling life for yourself or other people, then make peace with it. Alright, so I keep repeating myself, but the last part I realized I enjoyed about Endgame was Nebula's character. Nebula's character I saw was really symbolic. So Nebula from the past timeline was evil, and she ended up coming into the present, and she brought Thanos into the present with her and everything. And when they were in the underground area with Hawkeye and Gamora, Gamora told the evil Nebula. She told the evil Nebula, you can change. It's not too late to change. We can stop him, and you can be a better person. And Nebula said, I can't, because he won't let me. The Nebula from the present then killed the evil Nebula that was in the past. And I found that very symbolic for Nebula's character, because Nebula faced her own demon, which was basically herself. Not to get off subject, but there is another theme in Marvel, which is we create our own demons, but that's a topic for another time. And Nebula faced her own demon, which was herself, and she killed it. And that was symbolic in the sense of she moved on from that mentality. She killed that negative mentality of being controlled, of being oppressed. And she chose to completely just forget about how she was early on in the movie. Or no, maybe halfway into the movie. Nebula gets attacked by an enemy, and Gamora helps her out and gives her a helping hand, and Nebula smacks her hand away, and she kind of pouts and doesn't accept it. At the end of the movie, Gamora offers the present Nebula her hand, and Nebula grabs it, and they fight together. that was also very symbolic about the growth of her character and how much she learned to just accept help, and how she learned to make peace with her sister and accept love, things like that. And of course, the very beginning of the movie, it starts off with Nebula and Tony and Iron Man playing a game together, and that showed a lot, because Nebula was fierce. Nebula was fierce, and to just see her playing a game for the first time with someone, that really showed how much she as a character learned to open her own heart and really accept the good things that life had to offer. So anyway, I don't want this video to be long, but just to recap, these were the positive messages that I found in Avengers Endgame. We all have our negative influence, our traumas, our PTSDs. We feel guilty and we feel like we failed. But sometimes the best way to move forward is to move backward and make peace with our failures and with our negative emotions. And some people say it's not good to live in the past. Sometimes it's okay to kind of explore your past and kind of relive the past in order to make peace with it. That's one thing Captain America also taught me. Sometimes it's okay to live in the past if it means finding fulfillment or finding wholeness within yourself. And so, yes, and that's it. That's my analysis for Avengers Endgame, and the positive emotions and the positive messages that I found in that movie. I'd like to do the other Marvel movies and post positive messages that I found in all of them. So, yeah, wish me luck on that in the future. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, just drop me a like, and I'll link a Patreon account at the bottom of this video. And yeah, thank you for watching. Have a good day.